to turn your cameras off. I will also let you know when we have stopped recording. Okay, now we are going to hear from Jaye Moyer on the Brama Viharas. In Buddhist thinking, qualities of the heart, such as loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity, are referred to as the Brahma Viharas, also known as the Great Perfections or Four Immeasurables. Quite some titles, huh? They are foundations of all ethical thought, speech, and action. They are embodied in our Unitarian Universalist principles, and she will lightly touch on each one, and then we will have time to share from our hearts with Vern Bell.
Thank you, Marcia. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Okay, good. Yes, good. Marcia just gave note to that logistical piece. We are going to not do the Q&As. We're going to use this time to share with Vern, and I'm so happy to see you here, Vern, and everyone here this morning, really. So when I made the decision to come back to the UU after being gone for a lot of years, I was influenced by a Unitarian minister, and I do not know her name, but she was speaking about spirituality and disclosed that her spiritual path was Buddhism. And I thought, oh, if she can do that, I can do this. I can come back to the UU and still pursue my interest in Buddhism. And here is the fourth principle right here, the free and responsible search for truth. UU and Buddhism, I believe, really share this principle. There's a term that Buddha used called ehipassiko. It's a phrase from the Pali language, and it really means loosely, come and see for yourself. Come check it out. No one's trying to convert anyone. Come and check it out. So when I talk here, when I give talks, as Marcia mentioned, they are informed by my study of mindfulness and my study of Buddhism. And for sure, I want to make it relevant to our congregation and hope you get something from it. We heard our 7 UU principles. They are not abstract cognitive thoughts, but rather embodied practices and principles. They are codes of the heart, ethics, right action, right effort. I wanted to have them read today because I wanted to relate them to what is known in Buddhism as the Brahma Viharas, because those two are embodied practices. I mean, I'm going to just lightly touch into them and give an overview. And if there's an interest, perhaps at another time we can take a deeper dive into these. And while they come from Buddhist thinking, they are foundational to our ethics in thought, in speech, action. They're in all faith-based traditions and in secular traditions also. So in Buddhism, and specifically in the Theravada tradition, the Brahma Viharas, known as the Great Perfections or Four Immeasurables. The literal definition, Brahma, refers to the noble kind of tenor of these qualities. Vihara refers to the dwelling. The practice is about allowing the heart to dwell in these qualities. And each of these practices is a subject of meditation. People focus on these practices for lifetimes. So here they are. The Pali word metta, loving kindness, is the first of the 4 Brahma Viharas. Metta, loving kindness. The next one is karuna, which means compassion, followed by mudita, which is the Pali word for joy. And last but not least, upekkha, which means equanimity. Longxepa was a 14th century Tibetan teacher, and he wrote, "Out of the soil of friendliness grows the beautiful bloom of compassion, watered by the tears of joy, sheltered beneath the cool shade of equanimity." These heart qualities are aspirational qualities. They work in concert with each other, and they are meant to be practiced in all conditions. I want to say that in Buddhist thinking, they are also seen as the antidotes to the three poisons. And the three poisons are greed, hatred, and ignorance. We'll leave those for now. We'll get back to those later, not today. So the first Brahma Vihara, metta, is viewed as the fertile ground out of which the other Brahma Viharas arise. And just take a moment to note that it is not just love, or it is not only kindness, it is the blend of loving kindness. Perhaps take a moment and just think about that blend of loving kindness. That's been a subject of contemplation for many, many years. Christina Feldman, in a book called Boundless Heart, which is a beautiful book, I'm kind of referring to it. This is the book, Boundless Heart. Writes, loving kindness teaches us my heart and happiness, my freedom is linked to and interwoven with yours. My confusion, my fear and sorrow is linked to and interwoven with yours. Metta teaches us to move from the language of you and me to the language of us. It mirrors the deep respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Seventh principle. Out of the ground of metta, or friendliness, grows karuna. That is compassion. And compassion is a willingness to turn toward suffering, whether it is our own or another's suffering. It is the willingness to turn toward it and the desire to alleviate it. Karuna is related and works in concert with loving kindness because it's hard to feel compassion without some atmosphere of friendliness. It's hard to do that. I don't even know if we can. The Dalai Lama challenged Western scientists to research compassion and the impact that it has on the brain. And there is extensive research out there from MIT, Stanford, Harvard, on how compassion and loving kindness impacts our brains. The research shows that compassion isn't something we are just born with or not born with, but that it is a skill that we can train in through specific practices. UC Berkeley's Greater Good Science Center launched a website called Greater Good in Action, and they have these beautiful practices that help us to train in sustained compassion. The Dalai Lama said, if you want to make someone happy, practice compassion. If you want to make yourself happy, practice compassion. And Helen Keller also said something really lovely about it. She said, although the world is full of suffering, it is full also of the overcoming of it. I thought that was just lovely. And then there is mudita, which is joy. We have a ritual in our sharings of joys. because it is a way that we bond. It's a way that we can come together and feel an uplift with one another. Joy can be contagious, right? There's a contagion that can actually occur with joy. Sorrow as well, but now the focus is joy. Joy is an important experience, and it is a quality we can cultivate. We can cultivate it. Can we pause and notice a small moment of joy this morning? Susan Morgan is one of my teachers, and she's had a very powerful influence in my life. She said, "It takes a deliberate intention to see and feel into joyful moments. It is counterintuitive. It counters our focusing on the negative. We have a negativity bias. We all have it. It's part of our biology. It's natural. But by illuminating joy, we are bringing the wholesome around and feeding the heart good food, restoring it with some lightness and brightness, feeding it good food. Sometimes your joy is the source of your smile, but sometimes your smile is the source of your joy. Thich Nhat Hanh said that. Again, it's easy to see how joy can emerge more freely when there is an atmosphere of loving kindness. I cannot access joy when I feel threatened or jealous or angry or hurt or whatever difficult feeling might be there. But I want to learn to set the intention in these Brahma Vihara practices to be kind to myself when those difficult moments arise. I want to learn, I want to administer compassion to the part of myself that is experiencing distress. Much like I might, if I saw a child who was in distress, I would want to reassure, I'd want to hold. It's like that. That's the practice. Because when we feel those distressing experiences, we lose our equanimity, we lose our balance, or wobbly. These practices are setting the intention to be kind, to not put another log on the fire. Just excuse me a moment. I think I lost a page. I'm going to just pause to get my page. Thank you. So here we are, the last one, equanimity. I looked it up in the Google dictionary, and this was the definition around equanimity, for equanimity. Mental calmness, composure, evenness of temper, especially in a difficult situation. Well, that sounds great. That sounds good. But the definition, that particular definition, can infer a sense of indifference. There is a reason that equanimity is often viewed as a higher practice. It is not a spiritual bypass or a Zen zone. Gil Fronsdale, who is a meditation teacher at Spirit Rock, says that the Buddha described upekkha, equanimity, as abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. Not the same thing as indifference, is it? The Buddhist view of equanimity is pretty lively and colorful and often demanding. Equanimity is challenged in the face of fear, hatred, and ill will are powerful and divisive energies. Equanimity is challenged when we are caught in our self-righteous view or blaming or making assumptions about who we think another person is or who we think they are not. Buddha said, whether standing, sitting, walking, or lying down, we abide in kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. There is no more noble way to live in the world. There is a prayer of aspiration, or you could look at it as a reflection or meditation, that is often said at the beginning of a practice. May all beings be happy and have the causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they remain free from attraction, aversion, partiality, and remain in great equanimity. So I invite you for the next few moments to take a few deep, slow breaths. Eyes open or closed, but soft gaze. And know that as we sit here right now, there are people around the world who do not know us, and they are offering us wishes for our safety. They are sending us a wish for our happiness. They are sending us a wish that we be free from suffering. And I invite you to bring to mind someone that you care about. That you might offer them a wish for their happiness. May they have more ease. May they be safe. And lastly, let's expand that circle. Sending a wish to someone who may not feel safe, that they are safe, that they be safe. To someone who may be in distress, that they be happy and have more ease. To someone who is ill, may they have as much physical health as they can have. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. And before I hand this over to Marsha, in Buddhism, we refer to someone who really lives from the heart and lives with a commitment to help others as a bodhisattva. And not to be heavy-handed here, but as I think about a bodhisattva, I think about Vern. So, Marsha.
Okay, thank you so